How's it going, boys? The Dragon's back, and we're back at it again with another build guide. This one is going to be about the spear and blunderbuss, just like I promised you guys last week. Now, this build is very interesting, okay? This is a build that you cannot just go in there and start fighting 1v2, 1v3, because it doesn't really work that well in anything outside of 1v1. If you start fighting 1v2, you will soon realize how chaotic this build can be, because you are very, very dependent on those spear CCs. If you don't land those, then you need to now find room for you to wait for the cooldown so you can keep on shooting at the enemy with the blunderbuss, so you can switch to the spear, you know, with some of those basic attacks. But this build revolves around you hitting with the CCs of the spear and then finishing it up with the blunderbuss. So whenever you're fighting one or two people at the same time, if you try to CC one person and you get ready and pull out the blunderbuss to hit him, you will find that you're going to get hit or CC by the other guy, making it very hard for you to be able to secure those kills. But without any further ado, let's jump right into it. We're gonna get Javelin all the way down to the bottom. It's just a little bit of extra damage. It doesn't really matter. All we want is really that knockdown, and obviously that headshot reduced Javelin's cooldown by 50%. Because if we do hit that headshot with a Javelin, that means the cooldown goes down drastically. Okay, on sweep, we're not gonna go all the way down to coup de grace, right? We're gonna stay right there on tenacious sweep because we want that grid. We don't have much grid on our spear other than over here on the sweep, so we obviously 100% gonna take the tenacious sweep. We're not gonna get it this one, like I said, because sometimes, actually a lot of the time, if you have this ability and you use the sweep, even if you don't want to use coup de grace because you used it too fast, your guy will still use coup de grace, right? Because we smash buttons all the time. So we don't want to get this one because we want to sweep at the enemy, switch to the blunderbuss and hit them while they are on the floor right in front of you. We're gonna make our way down over here to vault kick, and we're 100% going to get continuous motion. This is very, very strong because even if we don't get that headshot with the Javelin, we still get the cooldowns back if we hit the enemy with a vault kick, and also get the cooldown back of our sweep. This ability down here is mega powerful. Now for the passive, I chose the ones that I thought it was the best one for this build. You can play around with it. I'm not a spear expert, and since we're not going to be using heavy attack, obviously I didn't get any of these things that require you to use heavy attacks, right? We're not going to be using heavy attacks at all. We're not going to make it all the way down here to reverse strength, deal 25% increased damage while stamina is full. We're not going to have the stamina full probably at any given time. Plus, we're not going to be utilizing our spear as our main damage. The spear is just here to CC the enemy, to, you know, set up for the kills. It will deal a okay damage, but it's not something that we're going to be utilizing a lot. Now, if you are a player that can maybe, you know, fit in a couple of basic attacks and you're a very, you know, spear lover. Anyways, yeah, you can go ahead and pick probably this one and do a couple basic attacks here and there. Whatever the way that you want to play the spear. As long as you have the abilities, you can go with a passive, the more or less that you enjoy. We're not going to have the target bleeding other than just the net shot, but the net shot is only 3 seconds. So having exposed wound is not necessary. Once again, we're not going to the target is not going to have that many debuff on them. So this one is not going to be also very useful. In crippling jabs, the last hit of your light attack chain applied at 30% slow for 3 seconds on target that are below 30%. You can grab this one if you want. But usually when the target is below 30%, we finish him off with like a basic attack or the short, or you know, from the Blunderbuss, or it's just very easy. When a target is like below 30%, that is the least of our concern, and usually they're running away, so you hit them with that Blunderbuss. But if you want to get crippling jabs, by all means, you can go ahead and play with the passive the way that you want, as long as you have the javelin, the sweep, and the vault kick. For the Blunderbuss, it's gonna look something like this. It's gonna look familiar, right? Because this is the same exact build that I've been using for the previous, you know, for the past couple of weeks. And yes, we're gonna make it all the way down to barb netting, all the way down to ace of bomb. This is a lot of damage. That ace of bomb is so juicy and so good. It secures so many kills. Nobody, well, I mean, people should expect that after the shrapnel blast, the bomb comes out. And that bomb deals actually a pretty nice amount of damage. So people get hit by the bomb way too often. People, please dodge the bomb, all right? If you cannot dodge the shrapnel blast, just know that at the end of that shrapnel blast, there's a bomb coming. If you can dodge away from that, just stay away from that bomb. That bomb hits very hard, sometimes all the way up to 2,000. So very careful with the ace of bomb. It gets many kills. It gets a bunch of people that are not expecting it. Obviously, we're going to get deep load, fortifying aggression, and unload, because you guys know how the rotation goes. You know, we're going to be using ability, basic attack, ability, basic attack. So we always going to get the benefit of that unload. We're going to pick all of the skills right here to make it to blast shot, so we can get that preparation for that 10% ren. We're going to get on the roll, because once again, we want to be as defensive as we possibly can. And then obviously we're going to get last chance, which is the best defensive in the entire game. I said this previously, on a 30-second cooldown. Every time you drop below 50%, you switch to that Blunderbuss. If you're getting bursted, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this, but you can switch weapon while you're under CC, all right? So if you're getting hammered by a hammer and you get hit by the melee, or you get hit by the shockwave, and you know that you're going to drop below 50%, you can just go ahead and swap weapons in the middle of being CC to that Blunderbuss. That way, as soon as you drop below 50%, that last chance procs in, right? And it protects you from a massive amounts of damage. Just get used to that. I know that a lot of people don't know this, but yes, you can swap weapons while you are getting CC'd. And that does it for the skills. Let's go ahead and now jump into the attributes. For the attributes, we're going to be going for 200 Constitution. You know that is how I like to play. If you guys feel a little bit more, you know, risky, then you can go ahead and go with 150 Constitution, maybe 100 Constitution, and then just put the rest, the remaining, remaining points on Intelligence, and have a massive amounts of damage with the Blunderbuss. Going all the way to 250 Strength. It's okay. You can go for 300 strength. That way you have grid on those light attacks with a spear, making your playstyle a little better and maybe a little bit safer. But I don't need it, and I go with the remaining points that I have after 250 strength. I go with intelligence. That way I increase the damage on the Blunderbuss to not the maximum, but it's very up there, all right? And on top of that, I get that 10% critical hit damage. We're going to be creating a lot with my Blunderbuss, because you guys know that I use Keen on my Blunderbuss. I also use Keen on my ring, and it gives me a very high chance of getting all of those shrapnel blasts, full on crit, all the basic attacks. I like to play with Keen a lot, so that is the reason that I always try to pick Keen on one of my weapons. But that is just my play style. But like I said, you guys can go with 300 strength, or you guys can go with 250 and then go past beyond that 50 intelligence point if you guys feel risky and want to go with less than 200 constitution. Although 200 constitution is what I always recommend, because we make mistakes, right? And sometimes we're fighting more than one guy, and having that 200 constitution right there gives us enough survivability and defensive that we can get out of it alive, or at least, you know, secure a kill before we die. But anyways, yes, we go ahead and we cover the abilities. What? Yo, where did that guy even come from, dude? Oh, he's going upstairs? What? Why? Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead into the weapon perks. For the Blunderbuss, you guys seen it before. Exhaustive net shot. This is the one that I always recommend, and it's pretty much almost mandatory if you're playing on small scale PvP. All right, for large scale PvP, then the whole build will switch. We wouldn't take blast shot. We're gonna take splitting grenades. But again, this is not for large scale. This is for small scale 1v1s, 1v2 arenas. Right, so getting that exhaustive net shot makes you know, the kills on the healers, on the archers, on the mages not just possible, but just extremely easier. Right, it makes your job so much easier whenever the enemy has that stamina reduction and that slow for such a long time. I like to use Keen and Keenly Empower because, as I said before, I like those crits. Right, I want to, whenever I hit one of the targets with a CC, that basic attack is probably going to be crit, making my Shrapnel Blast 100% have that Keenly Empower for the fattest damage. If you guys want to go Enchanted instead of Keen, then that's fine. Just know that sometime that Enchanted shot, it might not crit, and then the Shrapnel Blast that follow might not have the empowerment. But this is how you like to play it. As long as you have that Exhaustive net shot in there and probably Keenly Empower, the third perk, it could be whatever you want. I still recommend Keen because I'm a Keen enjoyer, alright? But however you guys want to play this build, it's up to you, as long as you have that exhaustive net shot. Now, I'm not a spear user, so I was looking for a spear that had Sundering Javelin, and I didn't have Dexterity. The Veil Strike over here have that. Now, I know that it has Life Stealing and Chain Void. Forget about those two perks, alright? You guys know that I don't care about the other perks, because for the spear, like I said, we're only going to be using it as a CC machine, alright? And I want that Sundering Javelin. That Sundering Javelin makes the one shot even juicier, because that 20%, 24% rend for 10 seconds, it does stack with a 10% rend of the blast shot, putting the enemy all the way up to a 34% rend, making those Shrapnel Blasts and basic attacks deal 8 tons of damage. So if you can get yourself Sundering Javelin and whatever else perks you want, it's up to you. Sundering Javelin now is not mandatory because all it's doing is increasing the damage that you do to the enemy, but it's highly recommended. Now, if you want to go and get the other perks, like the one for the Vault Kick, then that is fine. That is an extra perk that you have there. You know, increasing your damage in the back. Now, the bleeding for the sweep, I think the bleeding only happens if you hit with the Coup de Grace, and therefore, since now we're not gonna be using that one, we don't need Coup de Grace, the Coup de Grace perk, right? If you're going to be using Perforate or maybe a Skewer, and you want to add the Perforate perk or the Skewer perk, by all means, as long as you have the Javelin and the Vault Kick in there, you know, we're good. The Vault Kick, it's very good. The Javelin is also very good. And I also recommend the sweep if you want to play with my build, with my play style. But you guys can tweak it around, all right? At the end of the day, it's Spear, Blunderbuss. It's open on how you feel the most comfortable with. I'll give you guys an idea how the build works, and then you guys go out there and create your own builds. But for my build, we're going to be using sweep, Vault Kick, and the Javelin. Okay, for the gear, once again, this is my mage gear. I don't need any perks for the Javelin, I mean for the spear or the Blunderbuss. But as I said before in previous videos, if you want to make these your main builds, and then you want to have the other weapon perks on the gear, such as the Blast Shot or the Leashing Shrapnel Blast or whatever other perk you want with the spear, then you guys can go ahead and then, yeah, use it on the gear. My gear still is my Fire Staff and Ice Gauntlet build. As you guys can see, I'm still using Empower and Fireball, but I only switch my gear around when I'm playing with different weapons, just so I can hit the threshold that I need on my attributes, you know, having that 200 Constitution. In this case, I didn't want too much Intelligence, so I had to switch some of those pieces around that had Intelligence to full Constitution. But once again, this is up to you guys. The gear, I leave it up to you. Sometimes you guys ask Tricks, what type of accessories you're using. Now, even though the accessories might change because of the attributes, the perks almost always remain the same. For the amulet, you will want, I recommend that you go with Health and Divine. Stamina Recovery is one of the best, if not the best perk out there for the amulet. So having that Health Divine, Stamina Recovery is one of the best amulets that you can have in the entire game. If you're fighting against a team that has like 2 or 3 archers, then you know, an amulet like let's see, like this one that had thrust protection will probably come in a lot more handy, because that 10% thrust damage protection will probably be more valuable than having that extra stamina whenever you drop 50% health. Although the stamina recovery is an amulet that applies for every type of situation, not just one type of situation. So that's why health, divine, and stamina recovery, it's probably gonna be the #1 amulet that I will recommend for anybody. Now, when it comes to the ring, I still recommend the Champion's Ring. The Champion's Ring is gonna cover you with that Hardy, that Keen Awareness, right? Those are 2 perks that are almost mandatory if you want to be a DPS in this game, unless you're not going with the crit route and you're going with a more raw damage route. Then you wouldn't pick Keen, and you will pick like increased damage of a certain type, like fire damage, of ice damage, but you know what I mean. And Invigorated Punishment, this has become one of the most important perks in the entire game for the rings, giving you that extra you know, bonus damage almost at any given situation, because usually whenever you're fighting an enemy, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buffs on them, depending on what class you're fighting. For the earring, the ones that I recommend, which is mandatory, it's Refreshing Toes. After you have Refreshing Toes, you can go with whichever other perk you want. I like Regenerating because I do a lot of duels, I do a lot of skirmishes and 1v1s, 1v2s, and while I'm running around, I like my HP to be, you know, to be passively regenerating together with a regenerating potion or Hearty Meal, you name it. But you could also use something, well, that is the same. You could also use something like Healthy Toes or Refreshing Toes and Refreshing. Like I said, I'm a fan of regenerating, so a lot of my jewelry does have regenerating, because when we know in duels, we usually don't use potions, and that regenerating together with a Hearty Meal or your food buff combined gives you a lot of passive regeneration that you don't even have to think about it. But that does it for the accessories. If you guys have any other question, then obviously go ahead and ask me in chat. For the gems, we're going to be utilizing Opal in both of them, because this build, you're going to be dodging all the time. And since we don't have a lot of intelligence, then the elemental gems wouldn't really fit in here. So we're going to go ahead and put Opal in both our weapons, the spear, because usually you're going to dodge, ability, dodge, ability, dodge, abilities. And with the Blunderbuss, every time that we're going to do our burst, we usually dodge right before our burst. Alright, so for this rotation, it's pretty simple. You can either start with the net shot, which that's how we usually start our rotation, or you can go ahead and start with a javelin throw if you feel a little bit more fabulous. If you start with a javelin shot, then as soon as you land that javelin, you will switch to the Blunderbuss and hit with that net shot. Why? Because that is basically a free moment for us to use the net shot without the enemy being able to dodge it. So that is like a free net shot right there. Every time that you hit an enemy from the distance and you have the net shot on cooldown, I don't want you to run in there and use a basic attack or any other ability. The ability that comes after that immediately is gonna be Blunderbuss net shot while they're on the ground. Now they are on the ground, they have a fat rend. That net shot is gonna hit them. They're going to be slow, or they're going to be bleeding. So that is when you close in with a spear. And you're gonna start pressuring them. At this point, they probably use 1 or 2 roll. And the first thing that I want you to do whenever you get close to the enemy is try to hit that leg sweep, alright? Either the leg sweep or the vault kick. Why do I say to try to start always with the leg sweep? Doesn't always have to be this way. Obviously, the situation dictates. The reason that I like to start with a leg sweep is because if you hit him with a leg sweep, then you can hit him with a vault kick, and then you can hit him with a javelin headshot. You know, in this case, it was not headshot, I was just showing you guys. But the reason I say it to do it that way is because of diminishing return. So, if you were to hit the enemy with a vault kick first, and then you hit him with a sweep, and then you hit him with a javelin, excuse me, and then you hit him with a javelin, then that javelin might not push him back, and all it's gonna do, the enemy is gonna stand up immediately and start running away, because the leg sweep and the javelin, they are both in the same family of CCs, alright? Knockdown and knockbacks are both the same type of CC, so the enemy will not get knocked down and knocked back. I mean, I know sometimes it happens in the game, but those are just the game not being responsive and working how it's supposed to be. But if you first hit him with this and then a vault kick, then you can proceed to hit him with this one, because the vault kick is a stun, meaning that it now removes the knockback, diminishing return. It refreshes it with that stun, so you can hit him with another knockback or another knockdown. So if you hit him with a sweep, you hit him with a vault kick, then the javelin throw is free. You know, you get that javelin cooldown back, and on top of that, you apply the Ren. And whenever you're close to the enemy and you hit him with that javelin, it's gonna knock him back pretty much the same distance that the blast shot will do. And that is whenever we switch to the Blunderbuss and we unload the burst, right? So once again, to go over the rotation, if you start the fight with a net shot, you're gonna close in, maybe land a basic attack, maybe send another basic attack in there, come in with a spear and start punishing them, trying to hit that leg sweep, vault kick, javelin, switch to the Blunderbuss, basic attack, shrapnel blast, basic attack, and that is a basic rotation. Now, the beauty about this build is that it's not very one-dimensional. You have 3 CCs where you can do your burst at any given time. If, let's say, the enemy is in front of you and you hit him with a vault kick, you don't need to follow it up with the other 2 CCs, right? You can hit him with a vault kick, and then you can hit him with a blast shot, pushing them away, because the enemy is going to be stunning right in front of you, right? And then you're going to apply that Ren, hit him with a basic attack, shrapnel blast. If you don't have the vault kick, or let's say that, whoop, well, your vault kick, sometimes you know how it goes right through the target, but you have the sweep, then you can go ahead and hit him with a sweep, switch to the Blunderbuss, basic attack, shrapnel blast, right? That is also another combination. Or you can hit him with that sweep, you can hit him with a vault kick, you can hit him with a javelin, then blast, boom, with a shrapnel blast. Or, right, like I said, if you don't have the javelin because you initiated the fight with some fancy javelin work and you then got close with a blast shot, I mean with a net shot, you hit him with this, bad boy, then you hit him with a blast shot. At this point now they have the 24% Ren, the 10% Ren from the blast shot, and we are exactly where we want to be, because now the enemy, like I said, it has 34% Ren. They were blasted away, ready for that basic attack shrapnel blast combination. So once again, it's gonna be something like I said, you hit him with that javelin, you hit him with a net shot, you go close and in. If you were able to do this and to hit him with this, then you're gonna hit him with a blast shot and proceed to basic attack, shrapnel blast, basic attack after the roll towards the enemy. So it has a lot of potential and a lot of opening. The only thing that I find that this build lacks is survivability. Okay, that is the main problem with this build. If you had 2 people running after you, the only way that you can have to get away from this enemy, excuse me, is using the net shot to get yourself a little bit of distance, the javelin to push him off of you, right? The vault kick and keep on running away. But you don't have like a burnout to get out of any nasty situation. You don't have the ice shower to also peel for yourself, and you don't have basically any grid. Well, you do have a grid with leg sweep and the blast shot, but those we use it a lot of the time. We use it offensively and not defensively. So a lot of the times you will find yourself trying to kill one target and then all of a sudden get jumped by another homie and proceed to ruin your entire combo. And since you don't have a lot of sustained damage with this, like the previous weapons, like the ice spike, like if the ice spike, you send an ice spike forward, boom, that was like 30-40% of their health. Or with the fire staff, you had like a fireball, and the flamethrower, that was also a lot of damage. In this case, the spear is not gonna pull in a lot of that damage, right? The spear is mainly, like I said, for pressure and just to hit them with a CC change. So it's basically like a nice setup, so you can go ahead and follow it with the Blunderbuss. So once again, I'm going to go ahead over the base. I'm gonna go over to the basic rotation, you can either start the fight with a net shot or you can start the fight with a javelin. If you start the fight with a net shot, I want you to start closing in. You can even send in a javelin right after that, all right? If you want to send net shot, and now that the enemy is low, you send that javelin in so you can close in rather quickly. And if you hit the javelin when the target is pretty much at this distance, you can close in with a roll and a vault kick, stun the enemy, hit them with a leg sweep, and now they are in the floor in front of you. You're gonna hit them with a basic attack Shrine Blast combination. That it works wonders. Remember, guys, you don't have to do a full CC change with a spear to hit them with a blast, with a Shrapnel Blast combination. You can use a Shrapnel Blast combination at any given time. You can use it after the sweep, you can use it after the vault kick, or you can use it after the javelin. It doesn't matter, but it sometimes it's just very, very satisfying to use the entire CC chain and then whip out the Blunderbuss and finish them off without giving them a chance to fight. It feels very, very satisfying. But once again, you either start with a net shot or you start with a javelin. If you start with a javelin and you do connect, like I said before, go ahead and immediately hit that net shot, close in, hit him with a basic attack of the Blunderbuss, a basic attack of the spear, and trying to bait so you can hit with a leg sweep, leg kick, vault kick, blast shot, roll, basic attack, Shrapnel Blast shot. And that is basically the full rotation and all of the things that you can do with this build. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys after the clips. And that's about it, you boys. That's the end of this video for the Blunderbuss and Spear. If you guys liked it, go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you haven't. It really helps the channel. Also, another thing that I wanted to bring up, on the previous video, the one with the Blunderbuss and the Ice Gauntlet, I noticed that you guys were leaving comments where it says, hey, could you play this build? And I noticed that some of them were actually getting a lot of likes. So let's do that. Instead of me picking which build I'm going to play for the next week after the release of this video, how about I let you guys decide? I want you guys to choose a weapon combination that you guys want me to play, and the one that gets the most amount of likes, that's the one that we're going to play with. That way you guys also get involved with my videos, and you guys will be able to see how these crazy builds that you haven't been able to pull off, or that you're just thinking about it, we can make it work together. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Remember that I stream every single day, so if you guys have any question about the game, about any of these PvP builds, or just anything in general, drop into the stream. I stream every single day from Monday through Saturday. On Sundays we take it off, we record these videos and whatnot. But yeah, go ahead and drop by, like the video, subscribe if you guys haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers and take care.